Lapo, can you tell us briefly what you do?
Hi Valentina, what we do, we are La Concertation, Action Culturelle Bruxelloise, so it's a Brussels cultural action, and we are a network. We are a network of 22 associations, cultural centers, and associations that works in different sectors and domain of cultural and artistic activities, and essentially we work on Brussels. Everything that Brussels is, a citizen laboratory, a cultural laboratory, an artistic laboratory, everything is dealing with Brussels, its dynamics and its population. As capital of the French community in Belgium, as capital of the Belgium and capital of Europe.
How is the concept of special justice concretely reflected in your activities and actions?
That's a very complex question because spatial justice deals with not only the development of communities inside an environment, but the adaptation of the environment to the communities and vice versa. There is a positive feedback each time the one side, the urban environment or the community change, the other one changes also. So Brussels, as I said, it's a laboratory, and there are 183 communities, and the way these communities develop has an impact on the urbanization, the construction, the building up of the cities, of the neighborhood, of the different municipalities of Brussels, because Brussels is a region also with 19 municipalities. So the cultural and artistic action has to deal with not only the community itself, not only the everything that defines the cultural environment, but also the impact on the urbanization. So different politics decide, for example, to create public spaces, to create a different organization of the roads, of the circulation of cars, where to put playgrounds for children, where to put cultural centers, and so on. But this is a reflection of the communities living there. And so we adapt. And what we do is a bottom-up way of working. We start with communities, and we try to understand how to deal with them in their environment and how they adapt to their environment and how they modify it. So the cultural activity or the artistic activity is a sort of link between the communities and the environment it occupies. The problem is the term justice also. It's not something that we achieved or we reached at one point, but it's something that is always evolving, and so the justice is not that something that the spatial justice is not something that we found or we want to target in at one point, but we have to take in mind how it evolves in time and how we have to adapt our activities in time according to the communities that we are dealing with, essentially.
What development has the territory experienced in recent years in relation to citizen participation in cultural social practice?
Most of our actions are based on a simple but really powerful concept. They are not concepts, they are rights. We work according to what we call the cultural rights, according to the Fribourg Declaration. So they are humankind rights that are unscripted. They are inscribed also in the European policies. And what we do, we defend these rights That means we try to reinforce and to establish participation to allow people not only to represent their culture, their origin, their point of view, but also to be a participant of building up cultural and artistic events. So it means that when we do this, when we start from, when this is our starting point, how we deal with the territory is an integral part of our way of doing. In the last 3-4 years, in all Europe, and we can say worldwide, territories, urban and non-urban, changed a lot, and also we have not only to deal with, let's say, real territories, but also with virtual ones, because in the last 2-3 years, digitalization create a new and a really interactive territory to take into account. So what we do, we try to connect the both sides, and we try to not to push up the participator, to involve people in participating in our activities, but to be the real player of the activities. We don't only organize, for example, cinema projection, exposition, or artistic performance in the street, but we try to involve people in establishing which kind of performances, if they want to participate in building up these performances. Try to not only to organize, for example, cinema projection, but to give them a camera and to make them realize in the film that they has to that we can project in several cinemas or cultural centers in the cities. So we try not to distinguish between cultural activities in a certain territory, but to try to make the territory and the population enter in the cultural activities. More or less, I don't know if I explained the concept, but is a sort of full, completely integrated participation in creating the events and with people and the territory.
Do you know other experiences outside your country that you would like to involve in this set of interviews?
There are several experiences. I could make a list also of individuals or structure in different countries that I know of, but actually I refer to two principal networks that I find really interesting. One of them is the European Network Cultural Centers, that is dealing with several cultural centers that are, let's say, in all Europe, and they have different working groups that are pretty interesting to know and to explore. And after, there is another network that actually was born in Brussels 20 years ago or 30 years ago. And I remember that one of the founders is also a founder of my association, that is called Trans-Europal. If the first network is a network of cultural center, the second one is more a network of artistic structure and experiences. And it's interesting how they try to gather members around the concept of occupying the space, not leaving any space not used by people. And not used, it means artistically and culturally not used by people. And it's pretty interesting the different experience that some members presented in our gatherings. Above all from the south, I must admit. Above all from Spain and Italy. But of course it's normal, also the good weather help people to invade, let's say, the public spaces.
So thank you very much, Lapo, for your participation.
Thank you.